Thanks all for joining. Today we are going to talk about Ocrolus automated conditions. So I'm going to pull up a screen share as I usually do and walk through what it looks like and explain the pieces and parts of the functionality that we have just introduced at the beginning of the month. Um, Again, for anyone else that's just joining, I see still a few people hopping through here. There's a Q&A function in Zoom. You can feel free to ask any questions in there throughout the call, and I'll field those questions as we're working our way through here today. All right, so that being said, let me remember how Zoom works here. Let me pull up a screen share. Bear with me for a minute. All right. Here we are in Encompass. So Ocrolus Automated Conditions lives in our dashboard, and I'll show you how to get there in case you don't know in just a second. The automated conditioning product works in partnership with our Inspect product. Inspect has been around for a number of months and was sort of the stepping stone into automated conditions. Inspect compared all of the data that we pulled from borrower documents and cross-referenced the application to surface insights to you that are worth reviewing, things that might look off or things that we believe or know you should address before a loan should be pushed over to closing. So conditions is the next logical step from there. So I'm going to move into the dashboard. So you'll see here in the services tab, just in case you don't know, to access Ocrolus, you'll click on order additional services, and then you'll get Ocrolus in this pop-up. You won't have these other two, don't worry about that. You'll have Ocrolus only in your Encompass. This is our internal environment here, so it looks a little different. So I'll load this up. There's no username or password, so you're back to the usual dashboard. The default screen that you do see is the income calculation screen here. That's what we're at now. So Inspect is this little magnifying glass. You can see when there is a yellow bubble right there, that means there's something for you to review. That's what that little yellow icon means. If you hover over it, you can see there's actually a count there. So in this case, this is our demo loan. There's 14 different insights to check out. You can open this up. There's a little button here if you wanted to open that up and see these tabs a little wider. So I'm going to go over to Inspect. That's where our conditions are going to be located. So this screen here might look a little new or different to folks on this call. This did get a visual revamp at the beginning of April. And you'll see there are two tabs now in this screen. So when you're using our conditioning product, there will be a Conditions tab. We still retain the Insights tab, but I figured first it would help to just talk through the difference between an insight and a condition so you know what the difference is when you're working through a loan file. So Insights still retain that mentality that I explained before of what looks off on a loan file. Now, if you're using Ocrolus automated conditions, some insights we will actually have just converted into conditions, which you can see here in this other tab. There are some insights that we know when they're present, they just result in what you would expect to be a condition. So these are, again, still things that are worth taking a look at, things that look off, things that we believe you would want to address in some way, shape, or form before your loan is moved through the origination process. But we don't know whether or not that's a condition or something you may know or you may be able to clear on your own. You can convert them into insights, but I'm sorry, you can convert them into conditions if you'd like by viewing this, opening it up. Whoops, that just disappeared on me. You can create a condition right here from this toggle if you would like. But the conditions will be automated, and these in this tab are what we wanted to talk about here today. So the conditions are what we know need to be satisfied before closing. And you'll see here, they are organized in category. You'll see asset, credit, income, and there's borrower conditions that could be present as well. So you'll see these are organized in a manner that just keep it organized. You'll see a count at the top. There's 11 on this demo loan, so we have a variety of conditions to show you. You'll see a little counter for each of the categories here. So we try to make it as easy as possible to navigate through what conditions you may have. You might just have a few, or you may have 11 like we have here in this demo loan. So that being said, that's sort of step one, is to just navigate your way through, find the conditions, and see what they are. Now to view a condition, you'll be able to click right on view condition throughout all of these here. So let me pull up this wage garnishment one. This one looks interesting. So what's happening here is when we generate these automated conditions, we are reading the document data from your borrower documents. We're reading the 1003. We're also referencing AUS findings, and that includes waivers that may be on AUS findings. If there's an asset waiver, or if DU findings are saying there's only 1 year of tax returns that are needed instead of two, we're going to respect all those waivers or little nuances that are present across the document data, AUS findings, and so forth. And we're also referencing the selling guides themselves. And we built in this little blue bar here purposely so you can actually see the guideline that we're referencing in the condition. And you can click the little blue bar to open up that guideline, and you'll see the text right here of the guideline itself. And I love this. I'm a former underwriter. I think this is great because you can just immediately reference what we had as our line of reasoning to generate this condition. Now, some of them, they're probably going to be pretty obvious. In this case, this condition is a wage garnishment that we identified on a pay stub. You'll see we link the document here on the right side. This document is where the information or the document data, as I mentioned, has come from. So if I zoom in here, you'll see in the deduction section, there's the garnishment that's being referenced. There's actually two pay stubs on this loan file, and it's for $150 on each pay stub. Now, we do look at the 1003, the application, and you can see that reference here in the condition. There's nothing present on the 1003 to account for that potential debt. So we've generated this condition to ask for documentation to support what is that garnishment and verify if that should be included in your DTI as you're doing your underwrite. This text you can edit right from this screen if you would like. Each of our clients will have the ability to edit the text for all of your specific conditions in the near future. So for wage garnishments or for asking for a pay stub if one has been expired or any of the different variety of conditions that can be present, you will be able to customize that text. But in the meantime, now you can also come right here and type in, I'll just type my name to show you. You can type, things directly in that text to update the condition. And if you do that, let's just say this is a quick update. I'm just putting text in here to show you. You can write in or edit any of the existing text and then hit update condition, which would update this, this piece of the condition. This is the condition description that would otherwise sync over to Encompass. A couple other things here just to make sure we know what we're looking at here with this pop-up screen for a condition. So not just the document associated with where the condition came from, but here's the condition name right at the top. And again, you can edit that if you need to by just, selecting the text that you want to edit and then typing it in there. Condition type, underwriting condition. This is typically where the origination conditions live. If you are working on a pre-qual, for example, you can change this to be a preliminary condition, for example, or if you want to move it to be a post-closing condition, maybe it's one that you can make a judgment call and actually move this to be a post-closing condition, just like you can do in Encompass. You can change that condition type here as well. These actions will sync back into Encompass and vice versa. There's a two-way sync that happens. So if you change these items within Encompass from the e-folder underwriting tab, these will sync back to us as well in this user interface. Documents needed links it to the e-folder bucket itself. So if you know a specific e-folder bucket, you're maybe a processor and you want to link this condition to an e-folder bucket. So once the document comes in, it's associated to that e-folder bucket. You can select that here. If the bucket has been created already, you'll see that in the list of items you can select here. Or if you know the name of that container name, the e-folder bucket name, you can type it in directly right here. And we'll actually create that e-folder bucket when you create this condition and import it into Encompass. But this is nice. It just takes a step away from everything that you're probably doing already, which is linking a condition to an e-folder bucket. That's what this little box is here. Last steps here, this links it to a borrower, co-borrower, or both. If the condition is for any specific person. We'll link that here. You can see in this case, we've linked it to the co-borrower. That's Martha Washington on this loan. We have George Washington and Martha Washington. So that's how you can link it to the specific borrower if you would like in this drop down. And then this is nice too. Again, I spent a decade plus in underwriting. I was always trying to leave comments along the way of what I was doing just so other people knew as well. This comment box here is just for this condition. If there are some notes or some things that you want to leave, whether it be for yourself or maybe somebody down the line on your team that's going to be working on this loan file, you can leave a condition here. What that is, up to you. It can be just a little bit of extra context that you wanted to leave. These comments only live in the Ocrolus dashboard itself. So it's not going to write anything to your loan transmittal or anything else. So there's no fear of, leaving something that you wouldn't want others to see. But this is for your benefit, for your team's benefit. This comment section can be used to just share your thoughts. If you've made any edits to the condition, you can hit update condition. At the same time, if you don't agree with the condition, you'll see this red button here at the bottom. So this is really the other action that can be taken, which is to discard the condition entirely. This is a new product. It's been out for about almost actually 3 weeks at this point. But if you disagree with this condition being generated and you wouldn't want it to be added, you can hit discard, and I'll show you what that looks like. There's a little pop-up that comes up, and we're just asking you for some feedback. Hey, why didn't you agree with this condition being generated? And we're using this to learn from and build upon this product in the future. So if this condition is, for whatever reason, something you would have asked for, by all means, feel free to pass that feedback to us. You don't have to, but it'll help us learn and get better. But again, if you disagree with that condition, you can discard it here by clicking on discard. I'll discard this one just to show you what it looks like. So that gets rid of it. It removes it from that list of conditions. Otherwise, if you wanted to import a condition, you could click on these ready to import buttons as you're working through this review. You can even do them all at once. So that's probably how I would do it. I would look through each of these, discard any that I wouldn't want. Otherwise, and we do have pretty good recall rates. We've done a whole bunch of review, but we believe that most of these conditions will be ones that you would agree should be present based on your loan file data and where it is in the milestone. So once you're ready for import, you can also just do them all with one click. I like that because it's easier. So you can just click on this button, and what that does is imports and creates those conditions in your Encompass loan file, in the E folder itself. And then any actions you take on that condition in the future, whether it be marking the status as cleared or waived or any of those statuses, will sync back to us and vice versa. You'll be able to update the status from this dashboard, which will sync back to Encompass if you clear a condition or waive a condition or again, any of those statuses, which is great. Obviously, we want to have a dashboard here that talks and is always in sync with your loan file when you're in Encompass managing any other conditions. I should make sure it's clear to frame these conditions. We handle income, asset, and credit categories of conditions right now. We have plans to expand that, of course. And the loan programs are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, only those two for now. We will, of course, expand that as well. That's one of the next things we're working on is to expand that to allow for custom overlays if you have some custom parameters you want to introduce, or even just a government loan product like VA and FHA and so forth. So we'll soon support those as well. But for now, again, just to reiterate, it's income, credit, and assets on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loan programs. That being said, this is really, I guess, a beginning to end walkthrough of how you would interact with the product. The last pieces of the puzzle here on the right side, I just want to spend a quick minute to talk about these. But before I do, I just want to check to see if there's any questions in the Q&A, and I don't see any so far. So feel free to use the Q&A section here in Zoom if there's anything that you'd like me to replay or if you'd like to ask me about. But on the right side, you'll see a couple things here. The needs list, this is not new, but what this is showing you anything that you have requested from your borrower. So if you've created a condition for a new VOE in this case, or whatever it may be, a new bank statement, anything like that, you can click on the needs list here item to see specifically what's being requested and why. You'll see maybe this is an old pay stub. You can see in this case, that's what this is asking for. The pay stub is dated beyond 30 days from the application. This pay stub is from August of 2025, but this application is dated February of 2026. So of course you'd want to ask for a new pay stub in that case. So that's a presently requested item. So that's what the needs list is over here, something that you've already requested, just to keep track of those items that you've requested from Ocrolus, from this user interface. And then the last section here, the sources. For anybody here that's used our income product, you'll know that we have a sources box which correlates the documents for each income calculation to this screen, the income calculation you're looking at. The same concept applies here. This sources box will relate all of the different borrower documents that we've built in and used in this analysis. Now, the list will be much bigger than it is when you're looking in Analyze in our income worksheets, of course, because those are only for one income calculation. These documents here in the sources box are anything that we're using toward the review. And again, those are income, credit, and asset documents. So the more documents that we have in, what we've processed and that you've sent us, the more specific and robust these conditions will be. And it's worth noting as you get trailing documents, as your loan process advances, feel free. You should be sending us those documents. There's no extra charges or anything crazy like that. But the products will update as well, not just the income products, but the conditions as well. So if a condition comes in, let's say, for example, we had a condition. Let's go back to that one we were talking about before. Oh, I discarded it. This wage garnishment condition. Well, let's pretend that we did import that condition into Encompass, and then we have since received a document. Make sure you send that document to us. We will automatically clear the condition in the future to, just say, hey, this is the document that was requested. But in the interim, we'll have that context of associating those conditions, or I'm sorry, those new documents with the existing conditions. So you'll be able to complete your review right from this user interface and clear the condition from here if you would like to. But again, in the very near future, we'll introduce functionality to clear the condition upon receipt of us processing that document when it addresses one of these conditions. And that's great. So your role is really just overseeing, yes, this is a condition that I agree with. I want to add it to the loan file, send it off, make the request for those documents, make sure Ocrolus gets the document once you guys get it. We'll do the review, and then very near future, we'll actually clear that condition as well. So that's coming soon, but in the interim, again, you can still manage all of your conditions from here. We have a two-way sync with what's present in Encompass. So if you do clear a condition from there, we'll update our system as well if you've cleared anything from Encompass. All right, let me pause and do another quick check to see if there are any questions or comments in the Q&A. And I don't think there are any. So hopefully that means I did a good job explaining the product and the functionality. We're excited for this. We're going to be iterating on this a whole bunch over the next few weeks and months. And we're very interested to hear how your experience is going with this. So by all means, if you're a client of ours using our automated conditions product, I'm sure you know by now, but we're very open to hearing thoughts and feedback. We'll build it in. We'll factor all of these, thoughts and ideas into what we can do to make your life easier in the future. So thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing feedback. Thank you for using the product. We're, of course, like I mentioned, always all ears to hearing your thoughts and ideas. Hopefully this was helpful. And we have these sessions every other week, every month. So the next one will be in a couple weeks, and we hope to see you there. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your Monday.